If you've watched travel videos for any length of time, you've probably heard people tell you that you need travel insurance.
And if you're anything like we used to be, you might be thinking, I've traveled for years and never needed it.
That's exactly how we felt,
In fact, for many years, we traveled without any travel insurance at all.
until life taught us a couple of very expensive lessons.
Today, we're sharing 3 situations that happened to us where travel insurance either would have helped us tremendously or actually did help us. Our first story goes back to our honeymoon in 1999. We were traveling in Europe, and I became seriously ill while we were in Lisbon, Portugal. What started as feeling sick turned out to be Legionnaire's disease. I spent about a week in a private hospital. Because we didn't have insurance, the hospital required us to give them a $5,000 deposit, and they told us that they would refund any excess monies. At one point, the doctors even wanted me to fly home with oxygen. Fortunately, I recovered, and the hospital did give us a refund of some money, believe it or not.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so instead of putting the refund on the credit card that I had used to pay the deposit, they gave me a check payable in something that were called escudos. That was Portugal's currency back then. They hadn't adopted the euro yet. And long story short, we were never able to cash the check. Even so, that experience taught us how expensive a medical emergency can become abroad. We were fortunate. The care was excellent. The prices were actually reasonable by US standards. And most importantly, Ellen recovered.
Yeah.
But if something similar happened today, we'd much rather have an insurance company helping us not only cover the costs, but find a doctor who spoke English and help rearrange our travel plans.
When you're traveling, especially internationally, regular health insurance probably won't be of any help. And medical emergencies don't care whether you're on a budget trip, a luxury trip, or on your honeymoon.
Right? When people think about travel insurance, they usually think about things like lost luggage. But medical coverage is really one of the biggest reasons we carry travel insurance today.
Our second story happened right after a family emergency. I needed to travel across the country to the New York area on very short notice for a funeral. Everything went smoothly until it was time to come home. I was booked on the last flight of the evening. Then the delays started, and they kept coming. Because the flight hadn't been canceled yet, the airline wouldn't let me switch to an alternative routing that would have gotten me home that night. Eventually, late at night, the flight was canceled. By then, there were no agents available at airport counters. The phone wait was incredibly long. And when I finally reached somebody, they told me that they couldn't get me home for 3 days. 3 days.
Well, at that point, Ellen needed a hotel room, a new flight, and a completely different plan.
Fortunately, Bill was at home and able to come to my rescue. He found me a hotel room, and the next morning I flew home using a completely different route, on a completely different airline, and from a different airport. The whole experience was stressful, time-consuming, and expensive. What I didn't have back then was the type of travel insurance we carry today.
And many policies include travel assistance services that can help rebook transportation, help you locate accommodations, and, well, reimburse covered expenses when trips go sideways. We didn't even know those services existed until we started researching annual travel insurance plans.
And when you're standing in an airport late at night trying to figure out what to do next, that kind of help can be incredibly valuable.
Now let's talk about a situation where travel insurance actually paid off for us. Back in 2019, we'd planned a trip to Japan. It was going to be our first time there. As our departure date approached, we saw forecasts for a major storm. It was headed toward the exact area where we were going. Well, that storm later became known as Typhoon 19.
At that point, our flight had not been canceled, but we were concerned that if we waited too long, that we'd get stranded or have trouble recovering our costs.
Well, because we had travel insurance at that time, we were able to call the insurer and discuss the situation. They let us cancel our flights before the storm hit. The insurance reimbursed our airfare, and because it was still like a few days out, our other reservations were refundable. So financially, we were protected.
The policy cost us $82.64, and the reimbursement was $590.23. That one claim paid for a couple of years of travel insurance premiums.
And that's an important point. You don't buy travel insurance because you expect something to go wrong. You buy it because the financial consequences can be pretty significant if they do go wrong.
When we shop for travel insurance, we typically look for a few things. We look for medical coverage, emergency evacuation coverage, trip interruption coverage, travel delay benefits, assistance services. and coverage for prepaid travel expenses.
Now, the right policy depends on your situation, your age, your health, and the type of trip or trips you're taking. It can be purchased directly from an insurer, may even be included as a credit card benefit. But we encourage people to read the details carefully and understand exactly what is and isn't covered. If you're relying on coverage through your credit card, consider printing or saving a copy of the benefits guide on the day you purchase your trip.
And make sure the date is visible. We've learned the hard way that credit card benefits can change, and just because a benefit exists today doesn't mean it'll still be there a few months down the road when you actually may need it.
Having a dated copy of the benefits guide can help you document exactly what coverage was being offered when you booked your trip.
Could you travel your entire life and never need travel insurance? Absolutely. For many years, that's exactly what happened to us.
But we've experienced enough unexpected situations to know that things can change very quickly. A medical emergency, a major travel disruption, a family emergency like Ellen had that time. You simply don't know what's coming.
Today, we carry an annual travel insurance plan because we travel multiple times each year, and our coverage also includes road trips.
Now, for us, that approach makes sense, and it makes more sense to us than buying a separate policy for every trip. We still evaluate each trip individually, and we're open to adding additional coverage if a particular trip warrants it.
After everything we've experienced, we don't like leaving ourselves open to major medical expenses, travel disruptions, or unexpected emergencies.
And the goal isn't to ensure every little inconvenience. Our goal is to protect ourselves from the kinds of situations that can be stressful, very expensive, or both.
Some travelers never buy travel insurance, and that's a personal decision.
And we're not here to tell you what you should do. That's your decision. We're simply sharing the experiences that changed our thinking and why we now choose to carry coverage.
Now, we'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had a travel insurance claim or had a situation where you wished you had coverage? Please tell us in the comments.
And if you found this video helpful, please like the video and please share it with someone who travels. And for more videos that can help you live your best life after age 50, please subscribe to our channel.
Better living starts now.
See you next time.